A lot of people know this, but I was born in the Republic of Georgia, which was part of the Soviet Union for a long time. And I remember one of our relatives came to our house once, and she was complaining about having to buy bread. She said, there was only one type of bread my entire life, and I was just at the store and there are 100 different types now. I hate this government. I hate everything now. And as a kid, I remember thinking, what the hell is wrong with her? But now that I think about it, she does have somewhat of a point. Of course, I don't have to live in a place where I can only buy one type of bread. But at the same time, there are disadvantages to having a 100-point bread to choose from. And I'm pretty sure you have experienced this yourself. But sometimes I find myself in the store in front of 100 different types of bread, and I waste a lot of time just standing there having no idea what to pick. That is the paradox of choice. All different choices are supposed to make you better off, but they can cause paralysis and actually make you worse off. So now that we know what we are dealing with, let's take a look at how we can use this to sell or buy, or just make ourselves better off. Let's start with selling. And I like to talk about selling because a lot of people who watch this have a business or aspire to have one. But at the same time, we will have to sell something to someone every single day. Anytime you're trying to persuade or convince anyone with anything you're selling, so it should be important and useful for everyone to cultivate the ability to sell. Alright, so let's take a look at study very briefly where they were trying to promote these high quality gems. There were two different experiments. In experiment 1, they offered 24 samples. In experiment 2, they offered only 6 samples. So what were the results? Well, a large number of samples attracted more people, but in both cases, people tested the same number of gems on average. But what happened when it came to buying? There was a huge difference. Only 3% of people who were offered 24 gems to sample from went on to buy the gem. However, 30% of people who were offered only 6 gems to sample from went on to buy the gem. That is a huge difference. Let's take a look at another example and make it even more personal. One of the most frequent things I get asked is, hey, can you please make a reading list of your favorite books? And I will definitely make it some point. But let's take a look at what most people's reading books look like. A lot of authors and mentors have reading lists, but they literally put like 200 books on it. Now, when you take a look at that, most people are just going to be paralyzed. There's too much choice. What if you pick the wrong book? It's really hard to pick. So, guess what you're probably going to do? Not pick anything. And I'm telling you, this is the mistake that people who are a million times smarter than I am make all the time. So, keeping the paradox of choice in mind when I do make the list. What is it going to look like? It will probably be about 10 or maybe 15 of the absolutely best book in my opinion. Now, even that is too much, but considering people will have read half of them or possibly even more, it will avoid the paralysis caused by 200 books. Imagine if you have read 9 out of 10 of the books, and there is one book that you haven't read. You will most likely pick that book up, but if there were 200 different books, the decision is too hard to make and you did just get paralyzed and probably postpone making the decision. Now, let's talk about how you can use this if you have just want to make your life better. Your number one priority is to avoid paralysis. A few months ago, I did get up and I wasn't really sure what I wanted for breakfast. And the amount of food in my fridge could probably make a 1,000 different combinations, so there were times when I literally spent 20 minutes figuring out what I was going to have for breakfast. Now, if you add that up over time, not only is it exhausting, you are wasting a lot of time. So what do I do now when I get up? Well, I've the same things almost every morning. There were certain mornings where I just screw around and make a mess in the kitchen. But that's cool because that's what I want to do. This isn't about not enjoying things, it is about enjoying things even more. So for most day I've turned something that wasted energy and time into something that is super easy. Where I don't have to be paralyzed and where I can dedicate that time and energy to things that are more important and enjoyable than figuring out what I'm going to eat for breakfast. And that is kind of like what Steve Jobs did with wearing the same things all the time.